Only 0.18% of the world could ever own one QNT, yet most people overlook the project, not due to lack of quality, but because the average investor simply has lost interest. And that's okay. The supply is low, the use case is real, and the market simply has just not caught on. So today we're going to go into why people are ignoring QNT and why they shouldn't. So if you own the project or just enjoy watching the videos, be sure to leave a like down below. And with that said, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so a quick reminder for every video that we make that this is not financial advice and for entertainment purposes only. Nothing in cryptocurrency is guaranteed and you could lose all of your money. Stay safe and do your own research. So the first thing I want to get into here is the decent hardware cold wallet. Now, if you're in cryptocurrency and you don't have a cold storage wallet just yet, I do not know what you are doing. There's hacks happening on exchanges every other month. You have to keep your cryptocurrency safe, and there's no better option than the decent hardware cold wallet. Right, nearly every single cryptocurrency that we speak about on the channel is supported. Right, you can see 75 plus blockchain networks and 3,900 plus tokens. Right, comparing to another wallet like Ledger, for example, we can see it's not only cheaper, but it's easier to navigate. Right, with Ledger, you have to type in a code every single time you need to log in. Biometric authentication is only needed with a decent hardware cold wallet. So if you are serious about protecting your QNT and spending a small percentage of your portfolio in comparison to do that, go and check the discounted links down below for $30 off. Moving on to the video, why are people ignoring QNT? Well, there's just a lack of hype for QNT for many reasons. Right? I like comparing QNT to HBAR because they both came around in 2018. Both had great runs in 2021 and are both under the utility narrative. But if we compare to this cycle, HBAR is outperformed by miles. Not breaking all-time highs, not similar to XRP, but still outperformed QNT. Why is that? Well, a big reason is because of marketing. We know Hedera has the HBAR Foundation. And the foundation's marketing approach has been quite aggressive compared to Quant, right? They're funding partnerships, hackathons, influencer campaigns, ecosystem growth. Whereas when it comes to Gilbert Verdian and his team, they're definitely more reserved. They're more focused on enterprise and government relationships, and they're not making tweets of an announcement, and not really providing that much regular updates. Right? They even left the X platform at one point. So to the average investor, it might seem that their progress is quite stagnant, while actual real progress is happening behind the scenes. And you could also argue that HBAR is easier to market, right? A layer 1 enterprise grade DLT, you look towards the governing council, whereas when it comes to Quant Network's QNT, talking about interoperability, the overledger, is a bit more complex to understand. On top of that, I would say a common misconception I see with new investors is price. Right, they see a high price token like QNT, a low price token like HBAR, and they think HBAR has more room to grow. When in reality, it's the market cap, utility, and tokenomics that are really important. Right, people get 5,000 HBAR compared to zero point 0.5 QNT, and they think that they have more upside. That generally is not the case. And what you're going to find is the problems with QNT are not flaws in the actual project, but rather blind spots in the average investor mindset. And another reason people have been avoiding QNT is because of the performance. But it's been the same story for most altcoins in the market, right? Most established names have not broken previous all-time highs. Because the question is arising, have we ever had a cycle where there wasn't a significant drop in Bitcoin dominance? We have not yet. So is this time different? A big argument for that is saturation, right? Too many cryptocurrencies in the market. I remember back in 2022, there was 20,000 cryptocurrencies. And I was saying back then that the market is saturated, there's too many cryptos, and 99% are going to go to zero. Now we have 14 million. But the fact that altcoins have dropped 60 to 90% over the past couple of months, established names still not have increased in the market, I'm still led to believe that this cycle is going to fall like every other, where Bitcoin dominance trickles down and altcoins increase in the market. And that'll be QNT's time to shine. And we also know QNT goes against the grain, right? Most altcoins in 2021 topped in May, right? We had Dogecoin, Cardano, XRP. QNT did not actually increase until June, July, all the way until September, pumping around 1,800%. QNT usually pumps hard and it pumps the last when it comes to cryptocurrency. Now, why should you not ignore QNT? Well, it's solving $1 trillion problem. But just look at the overledger itself. It's a groundbreaking solution, acting as a bridge, letting businesses, apps connect through blockchain, where it's like the internet but for finance. So it truly is $1 trillion problem, right? The overledger is connecting all blockchains and legacy systems to integrate and communicate. The benefits are endless, and we're seeing this happen in real time. Recently, the United Kingdom to collaborate with the US to boost the adoption of cryptocurrency. This was stated at the IFGS panel where Gilbert Verdian, the CEO of Quant Network, was speaking. He also stated how banks are no longer experimenting with blockchain. The technology is no longer being piloted, but rather going live. And this is fantastic. We are moving to the final stages, moving from the experimentation phase, the test phase of Project Rosalind, to the final stages. This is where QNT is truly going to thrive. Also, at the panel, he stated we can now program money and add AI logic to automate transactions and workflows. Coincidentally, a day before, MasterCard unveiled Agent Pay, pioneering payments technology to power commerce in the age of AI. But it's not far of a stretch to suggest QNT has involvement, where MasterCard is also a member of the Regulated Liability Network, a member of Project Rosalind, and partnered with Nexi Group, who use QNT. And the CEO of Quant also shared a draft on new UK regulation. A part that stuck out to me was new specified activities qualifying crypto asset staking. But we know last year in September 2024 that Gilbert Verdian stated after getting regulatory and legal clarity, they will introduce different forms of staking and rewards. It's coming sooner or later. We also have a tweet here by Mine Crypto, Bank of England, ISO 2022 live from May the 1st, 2025. Now we know that Quant is ISO 2022 compliant. It goes beyond that. They interoperate between blockchain legacy systems. It's the perfect candidate in a post ISO 2022 world. And not to mention, they've already worked with the Bank of England. That moves me on to the second point, which is they're already integrated with governments and institutions, right? You cannot ignore QNT for that very reason. Already working with HSBC, Amazon, Barclays, right? One that skips past people quite a lot is the Bank of International Settlements, right? Owned by 63 central banks and monetary members, accounting for 95% of the world's GDP. And industry giants are seriously interested in Quant's technology. Why? Because not only do they integrate and interoperate with existing financial systems, but non financial systems, right? Transacting globally with any piece of information, any piece of data, or any transaction, right? Gilbert states himself that interoperability has been solved. Listen to a clip here of Gilbert Verdian stating why interoperability is here to stay.
And we saw that in 1983 with the adoption of the internet. There were many competing network protocols, local area and wide area network protocols. It was only when the Department of Defense stepped in and said, we're all going to be using TCP/IP, and the cutoff day is the 1st of January 1983. Then everyone had to follow suit, because otherwise you cannot work with government if you're not following the same protocol, or if you're not implementing the same protocol.
So Quant is a long-term solution that banks and governments are going to continue to use. And many people say, well, Quant is centralized. Well, of course it is, right? Fortune 500, governments, banks are not going to move their core business to a permissionless protocol, right? BlackRock states it perfectly here, where they're going to continue to explore the digital asset ecosystem, especially areas that are most relevant to their clients, such as permissioned blockchains. And to conclude, strong fundamentals do not equal instant returns, especially in cryptocurrency. But QNT will catch up to its real world value. When that happens, it won't be a slight price increase, it will be a skyrocket, in my opinion. Until I have visual confirmation that this market cycle is over, I'm still holding and believing in QNT. Do you as well? Let me know down below. Are you part of the 1%, less than 1% that actually own QNT? Be sure to let me know. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.